Shakalaka!
Today's episode of the Swing Podcast is brought to you by Thrive Fantasy. Do you think you know fantasy? Do you think you know player props? Well, Thrive Fantasy is a daily fantasy sports app built for that. With over 1.3 million in prizes since launching in 2018, only worry about the top tier athletes in your sport. In an NBA lineup, choose 5 out of the top 10 player prop options to build your lineup. The more risky the option, the greater the prize pool. Use promo code SWING when you sign up today and receive an instant $20 bonus on your first deposit of $20 or more. Download Thrive Fantasy on the App Store or Google Play, or visit their website at www.thrivefantasy.com. Sign up and prop up today. Hello and welcome to The Swing, where we are here on the aftermath of a Game 1 victory for the defending champion Toronto Raptors. The Pudgy Raptor here is happy, the Pudgy Hack is happy, and my co-host Owais is here with me to celebrate what was a sensational win overall for the Toronto Raptors, with a few key things to talk about. Some things just never change, do they, Owais?
No, they don't, and we'll get right into it. So, actually, before we get into it, let's just talk about how the NBA tried to pull a freaking quick one on us. All right? They had the cutest intros I've ever seen, starting with Gasol's children. Daddy! My daddy, Marc Gasol!
Number 33!
Marc Gasol! And I'm like, okay, they're trying to soften us up so that we get caught up in the fact that they're not seeing their families as much as they want to. And that's going to soften us up, and the NBA is going to pull a quick one on us, and then Brooklyn's going to win if Game 1 is a freaking curse for the Raptors. Anyway.
Unless you're OG, in which case it just seemed like he was introducing himself. It was like, from London, England, number 3, OG Anunoby.
That was painful to watch. Really painful to watch.
At least Kyle's kids had it down.
They did.
From North Philly to Yo City. Number 7,
Kyle
Lowry.
That was the cutest thing, and you saw Kyle. He's like,
That's how you get daddy hyped.
That's how you get daddy hype, man. And even Fred's kids, man, that was so cute. But yeah, NBA, I know what you're on. Didn't work. Okay, we're all about business when it's time for business. So.
Oh man, it totally backfired because we all know what happens when Fred gets to interact with his children.
Oh baby,
and
we get the golden boy himself.
Woo!
All right, but before we get into that, let's just start talking about the game itself. There are some key points that we want to talk about. We don't have much time, but right off the bat, Game 1 woes. You felt them. You actually felt them this game. And not so much in the first half because there was pure domination, but the second half, especially the third quarter, the Brooklyn Nets had dominated. And talk about why.
Yeah.
But do you want to talk about why, or do you want to go right into the success first?
Well, as we have talked about previously, it's sometimes nice to get the bad news out of the way first,
let's talk
right?
about bad news.
Let's
do it.
What was always going to be the jitters in certain ways out of it. Look, that first half was absolutely dominating. There's no two ways about it. Our rotations were great. Our three-point perimeter defense, which was always going to be the key to this series, was on point. But we came out incredibly flat-footed in the third quarter, and that is where the Nets, who overall didn't shoot well, but they had a run in between there of where they went about, 20 points of us, scoring about 4 on the way back, and got a 30-point lead all the way down to 9 points.
Was it 9 points?
9 points. And you know the shades I started getting, the feeling?
Oh my God.
Look, I've said that this series is a full circle for the Toronto Raptors, specifically the We the North era.
Oh, yeah.
It started with the Brooklyn Nets, our series in 2014, and the most, I guess, gut-wrenching game to me in that, other than obviously Game 7, was Game 5. And that Game 5 was the one where we, just like today, dominated the first half. Kyle Lowry ended it with that Hail Mary half court to be able to get us up 18 and going into halftime in that one. And we got all the way into the fourth quarter in that game, and Brooklyn scored 44 against our 24 for us to eke out a 2-point win And I'm pretty sure every Raptors fan aged about 5 years in that game. And
I had to shave because my beard went all white. I'm so sorry to the fans that enjoy me for my beard, not just my commentary.
I got the whites to make up for it.
There you go.
Don't worry about it.
We got HK covering. He's got me. But yeah, as HK was saying, like the third quarter was very flat. And you can tell right off the bat that the intensity on the defensive end was just not there. In the beginning, those rotations were so smooth and so aggressive that, you literally gave those guys zero space, especially LeVert. So I feel like they were playing a box and one at one point, and LeVert literally had no room to make any one-on-one moves. There was absolutely no ISO plays for him, so that wasn't even an option because how well they were covering him. Second thing, though, I will mention is that LeVert adjusted really, really well, and he dished the ball out so flawlessly. And the open shot, don't get me wrong, in the first quarter, in the first half at least, Brooklyn had a lot of open shots. Don't get me wrong, they had them, but they just didn't capitalize on them. Third quarter came. Very different story. They were shooting lights out. Some of the names, man. First of all, Harris, of course, shooting great from the three-point line. But the other guy, I don't even know who he is. I'll be honest with you.
Come on, man. Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot didn't get his opportunity in Philly the way they wanted. But TLC has really improved tons. And he really was killing us with some tender love and care because he dropped 25 of some of the smoothest points. Some of those threes were beautiful. Nothing but net, just swish.
And it just came down to the confidence. It wasn't even like he was hesitating or anything. Like it was just got the ball, just catch and shoot, catch and shoot, catch and shoot, and just it kept going in. And every one that went in, it went and penetrated my heart and my mind. And as a Raptors fan, 4 game ones, that same trauma started coming back and cycling in. But anyway.
Yeah, but hey, the good news is that championship DNA did come through.
Came through.
The championship mentality came through, and the best part of it was that it wasn't a full run from Kyle Lowry that was needed, because he himself didn't have a great shooting night, but we'll speak about how he was able to still contribute otherwise, as always. But apart from Freddie, who we're going to spend all the time on Freddie.
Just wait.
But the runs that we got from not only Serge, who came in as a surge for us, a surge of offense.
I like that.
Yeah, it was nice, right? I worked on that one. 8 of 14 shooting today, 22 points, and a lot of those came in those moments in the third where we had to get those small moments.
Yeah. A few blocks as well, and a few offensive rebounds as well. And so those are huge, especially considering at the time the Raptors looked very flat-footed. Got away with a few calls as well, but that's okay. But the point is that he made it difficult for the bigs within Brooklyn, and he was dominating in the paint. And on top of that, like, he was hitting his free throws. Actually, if we're going to talk about something where the Raptors were really good, and that's what shows the experience, is they were getting to the line.
Yeah.
So they maybe weren't shooting as well as they wanted to entirely, or maybe they weren't getting those shots that they usually like in the spots that they like. But most of the Raptors did end up at the line, Siakam being one of them. I personally don't think he had an incredible game in terms of his movement. Maybe at the beginning he was aggressive.
Yeah.
Actually, let's start with that. So Siakam, in my opinion, started the game off with a bang. I thought he knew what he wanted to do with the ball and just attacked. And we talked about this in the last podcast, that we expect him to take advantage of the fact that there's nobody on this team that can guard him.
Yeah.
Absolutely no one. So he should be barbecue chickening this team. And he was for the first few buckets. Then what happened was the half started. And you went back to Siakam, and a lot of the times I saw him have open opportunities, which he pump faked. There was no one even marginally near him, but he pump faked anyway, and he slowed the game down. And when he slowed the game down, he's thinking of 3-4 different types of moves that he can do to get to the basket. And unfortunately, like, they just ended up in very bad turnovers or very, very bad shots.
Yeah, no, Siakam, like I said, it's a lot of it is just the momentum that was being built. For instance, in that first quarter, that pass that Lowry was able to hit him with. Unbelievable pass, by the way. Just goes to show the kind of chemistry that's there within the team, and also just passing capability of someone like Kyle Lowry. But
there was a meme last year about, like, when Kyle throws, and then it's like
Siakam's just running, exactly. And that motor, though, as we've talked about, and as we said on the last podcast, that motor is what makes Siakam so incredibly unique. And we saw him really push on that early, and the success was there to see. I guess where it gets annoying is that Siakam doesn't double down on it when he should. It's one of those where it's like, if it ain't broke, why fix it? And Siakam being up against, they tried Jared Allen on him, they tried Kurucs on him, and none of those matchups were anywhere near able to stay in front of Pascal. So the early shots that he was getting were pretty much all at the rim, and then once again you saw he started to get away from that to try to push out further and further outside. Right. He had a couple of early threes, which obviously would boost that confidence to get him going, but once you saw that it was, again, getting to a slowed down game where it didn't have to. As you say, he's doing pump fakes where he didn't need to. He was stopping in the half court, posting up where he didn't necessarily need to. You have the capability to have a face-up game and just literally beat the man off the dribble. Until they can prove they can stop you there, you don't do that. But I would say, by and large, the Raptors on the whole did figure that out because they were slashing to the rim with reckless abandon throughout. Seriously.
And to credit to Siakam, too, there were a few plays in the fourth that he did actually slash. And, a little bit of the third as well. Yeah. But anyway, he slashed and he got his free throws and he hit those free throws. And I think that's the big thing. So even if he wasn't particularly performing well on the offensive end at that current time, he got to the line. He started slashing. I don't know if it was like that timeout that Nick Nurse had that kind of changed the momentum, but or when he sat out for a little bit, came back on, he was a little bit.
I wasn't happy with Nick Nurse not taking the timeout.
Yeah, he should have taken it a lot earlier. But anyway, it's okay. But like we've had Nick Nurse timeout issues. Game 5 of the.
But wait, they're the champs. You let them play through it sometimes, right?
Yeah, you let them play through.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But as I said, this entire series. Look, we can probably play our B game and get through the series, as we've seen today. Unless the Nets are shooting lights out from three, they aren't going to be able to stay in front of us offensively. And, defensively, the Raptors have been locked down throughout the year.
Right.
So it's all about getting everyone's confidence up. And if there was anyone with confidence who doesn't need to be able to get it up, it
My
is
guy. Steady.
Forget steady. At this point, he was just sharp shooting, Freddie. 8 of 10 from 3.
And some of those threes were so cold, man.
Cold-blooded.
This guy was driving on a guy, and then he pulls it back, and I was like the camera moved ahead as if he was going to go for a layup, but no. He stayed at that 3 line and just daggered it.
Yeah.
And I was shook at the performance. We were actually talking about in our last podcast. We're like, okay. Contract year. My guy had struggles last playoffs, right?
Yeah.
How is he going to come into the season? How is he going to come into the playoffs? How is he going to play? Does he remain consistent or what? And this guy just erased. Of course, there's a long playoff. Of course.
One down, 15 to go is what it is.
But the fact of the matter is Freddie is steady, and some of those shots when we needed them most, Brooklyn goes on a run, shoots lights out from threes. Freddie hits a 3. And they're tough shots too, and so big credit to him. Yeah. Get him his money!
Get it to him. 30 points for every one of the $1 million he is going to have at the end of this year if he keeps playing like this. As we've said, look, it's going to be a tough decision in the sense of what makes sense money-wise. Fred is going to command somewhere in that $30 million a year. And if he plays like this, my guy,
give him
every
we
single
got a meme
bit.
For you.
Look, there was, like I said, to me, there was 2 guys in this game that truly encapsulated just what the Toronto Raptors are looking to do in this postseason.
Yeah.
Right? Lowry does what Lowry does, so we can talk about Kyle. As always, he's the engine that keeps us going. But apart from Fred, it was OG. And to me, OG was an OG today. That put
his brother, just seeing his brother, he knew he had to turn it on. All right? He saw no emotion from his brother in that intro, and he's like, you know what? I don't want to be... I don't want to... He's going to do something to me if I don't perform today.
So he just decided to be a cold-blooded killer. And some of those rebounds that he got, even outside... Big rebounds. He was up against Jared Allen for a long part of that matchup. They doing that switch, and he was holding his own. And more than that, that putback dunk...
Wide open. wrapped it right in front of him, spun around, put it back, and won, and just walked away as if just another day job.
Just another day job. Yeah, and actually, the funny thing about that is people don't understand why that was so important to the game. Literally, the possession before, Jared Allen had done a nasty poster on Ibaka, and I didn't want to celebrate, but I hurt when that happened. I was like, oh, that was a cold-ass dunk, man. Ibaka, you okay? Like, what's up? And then literally the very next play, a little bit of a miss. But not only does he get the offensive board over Jared Allen and a few other guys, but second thing is usually you would expect him to just go right back up. But no, he had it in his head to spin past that defender and get up on his bunnies and banged it on it and won. Crazy. Nuts. Crazy play.
I said OG is going to be...
Oh, wait. Also, when that happened, I think I heard in that little... they had the on-court sort of thing. Yeah. Definitely Van Vliet said some things that they should not have been said. You a cold ass... and stuff.
Hey.
Anyway.
Look, I part of what I am excited about as the playoffs roll on is going to be... Once we get near, I believe, the conference finals is when they're going to allow family members, or you're allowed one member and like one child to be able to come in. Just imagine this amount of shit talk that's going to happen when...
You see that, son?
You see that, boy? He just sunned you.
Yeah.
That's your daddy right now. We're going to get that from corner to corner. We'll see what happens when Paul George shows up.
We're going to have to make edits. But... You're absolutely right, but yeah, dude. Like, I think overall, there's a lot of great things to take away from this game, and most of it just came from just the leadership that we expect from our veterans, but also that championship mentality consistently stays. Oh yeah, one thing we forgot to say: we're so sorry to hear about Norm's future lineage. Took a little bit of a Bruce Lee back kick to his groinal area. And
Garrett Temple went wholly on him on that one.
Well, Garrett Temple was like, when I say he's a two-way player, he's a two-way player. He did it on the offensive end against the Raptors, and then he did it on the offensive end again.
Look, when he first went down, the replay kind of like half cut off, so I wasn't sure what happened.
Dude, he donkey kicked the... that was purposeful.
No, he's down again. But thankfully...
You know what? The funny thing is, I have never had more relief of a man grabbing his crotch in my life. Because I'm like, we cannot lose Norm. We cannot lose Norm. And he grabbed his... So I thought it was like a knee injury or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, he tore something.
Non-contact, he's down to his shoulder against something.
Right. Yeah. And then, thankfully, in the slow-mo, he's grabbing his nuts. And I was like, I love it. He's okay. He'll be all right. Yeah, just weird. But yeah.
But look, going forward for the series itself, professional game one.
Yep.
We did what we needed to do. No heebie-jeebies overall as far as that Raptors history is concerned. We are now 5-15 in game one history. Hopefully we can keep improving that record as time goes on. But look, this series, at this point, I would be disappointed if the Raps don't pull the sweep.
Yeah.
Right? There is no reason why they shouldn't do that. And considering what we just saw with Philly's game, Philly and Boston is likely thinking that they can do it too. But Philly showed some scrap on there. I'm hoping Philly was able to pull that series out to a 6, if not 7-game series on there.
And if they do, like, I'm happy. Why? Because Philly's a very aggressive team, and so that'll bang up the Boston Bruins. I said Bruins. The Boston
that
Celtics.
Bruises me.
Yeah.
But yes, the Celtics are going to be looking to finish that as early as possible because that is going to be our likely second-round matchup, and that's going to be something. I mean, I'm very excited for the series. Like, it hurts me that this is the year that we finally get that potential matchup. I'm not going to think too far ahead until it happens.
Yeah.
But I've waited a long time to have a Celtics series, and for us to get that opportunity and me not be in the crowd. But in a way, it's probably good because I'll get my season tickets canceled with what I'd be slinging that way.
A little bit of just kind words.
Just a
really
little bit of love.
Words.
Just a little love.
Enough love to be kicked out of the stadium. But anyway, point is again, you're right. I think the Raptors have a lot to take out of this. For me, the 3 points that I have, one is be aggressive. Continue being aggressive. Set the tempo and push the ball. Second thing is on the defensive end. I need to have that consistency because if you let these shooters get hot, they will get hot. And they have that elite 3-point shooting. Okay? That's the second point. And the third point is just like if you are able to maintain a certain level of compete, you guys can get the bench involved and the reserves involved to an extent, and that way, you know, you can rest for the second round. And I think that's important for some of our guys, given how banged up they can get. So those are my 3 points. Or maybe fourth point, Nick Nurse, please take some timeouts. At some point,
use them.
Yeah, and that's about it.
Yeah, look, Oasis pretty much said it all on there. For me, this was always going to be about the leadership and the leadership trio, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
Lowry's there, and behind him, in my opinion, Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka.
1,000%.
Those are the three vets on this team that are going to have to continually do it. I was actually quite impressed with Marc Gasol.
I agree.
Throughout the first
he came
half
out
especially.
like he was aggressive, and that's something we haven't really seen from Marc in a while. But both on the defensive end and offensive end, he was setting the tempo, facilitating the ball. And that's why I love Marc, man. I have so much praise for that guy.
Yeah.
What a pickup.
Look, professionalism just absolutely is second to none as far as Marc Gasol is concerned, right? That is why we got him. His consistency, if you're talking about, that is what you get with Marc Gasol day in and day out. And once we get to the bigger matchups, the matchups against centers that are going to be more of a hassle to you, like when I'm thinking about even the Enes Kanter matchup in the second round on there, Daniel Tice is obviously a bit more of a stretch one out there, but in those kind of situations where they're looking to impose themselves on you, you need that kind of guy to be able to keep the calm heads around. Serge can get emotional. Serge is going to probably punch a guy somewhere in between there. I see him looking to knock Enes Kanter's teeth out. But Marc is going to be the one to keep everyone on the level. And once we get a situation where the going gets tough, just Marc's there, and Fred, just keep doing what you're doing, Fred.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Because my goodness, Fred, I don't know what has happened in between the last 9 games of the playoffs leading into this season. I know you don't credit your child, but God bless that child, because it has absolutely changed everything as far as, I would say, the Raptors' future in the sense of where they're going to go once Kyle's done. Because look, Kyle has 1 more year on his contract. Everything is then on, hey, who is going to be our point guard of the future? Is Freddie ready to take that step?
That was a good one. I like it.
And Freddie has shown that he is the steady one to be able to do it. So, Fred, you the man. I love you. Keep it up. Owais, what you think?
Can't say any more. Let's move on to game 2. See you then.
See you next time. Peace.